Are we, the people, the terrorists now? And in fact, let me just dive right into that. Hebshi Shoshana is an American citizen and the mother of 7-year-old twins. She's also one of the latest casualties of the hysteria built into our national war on terror. On the 10th anniversary of 9/11, she flew on Frontier Airlines to Detroit. When the plane pulled up to the gate, all the passengers on board were ordered to stay in their seats, put their heads down, and put their arms up in front of them. Federal agents carrying large military-style weapons then boarded the plane and marched down the aisles. And here's Shoshana talking about what happened to her next.
I wondered if there was a fugitive on board. I had no idea they were coming for me. When they stopped at my row and ordered me to stand up, I was completely shocked and panicked. I was ordered off the flight at gunpoint, handcuffed, shuttled into the back of a police car, and to a small cell where an officer strip searched me. I was scared and alone in that dirty cell. I can't begin to describe the humiliation I felt. No one would tell me what was going on, despite my repeated requests for information. No one told me of my rights, or when I would be able to call my family, who had no idea where I was.
Time, Hebshi Shoshana was interrogated by an FBI agent, and she eventually learned that she had been removed from the plane because of her ethnic name, Hebshi, an Arabic name, and her seat assignment. She's half Jewish, half Arabic, by the way. She was seated between two men who were described by flight attendants as, quote, possibly of Arab descent. Oh my God, 3 of them in a row. Those men had gone to the restroom a couple of times during the flight. These 2 men, by the way, were also American citizens, just like Hebshi, only she being Jewish and Middle Eastern, they were of Indian descent. But in our post-9/11 fear frenzy, whipped up by George W. Bush, the simple act of using the bathroom while being Arab-looking is enough to get you dragged off a plane at gunpoint. And under the Patriot Act, it's completely justifiable for federal agents armed to the teeth to spring into action and drag you, because of whoever is sitting next to you, off the plane, strip you naked, and put you in a jail cell indefinitely without a phone call, without the right to a lawyer, and without any information whatsoever about why you're being detained. And they can legally keep you there for the rest of your life. To repeat, all of this is now legal in post-George W. Bush America. All of this can happen to any of us, just as it happened to Hebshi Shoshana, the American citizen and middle-class, middle-aged mother of twin boys. She now lives in fear that this might happen to her again.
In my wildest dreams, I would have never imagined being in this situation. And I often think about what would have happened if my twin boys had been there with me. Every time I fly, I wonder if today is the day it's going to happen again. I wonder if I will leave the flight on my own accord or be paraded through the aisle like a criminal. I know now that my only crime on that day was having an ethnic name and an arbitrary seat assignment.
You know, it's kind of hard to imagine this happening to any of us, although I'm guessing that people who have grown up African American in this country or Hispanic in this country probably can more easily imagine it than those of us who grew up white in this country. But increasingly, it's now all of us, as our national war on terror has been running on for more than a decade, and we've gone nationally crazy. I mean, with this war on terror, we've seen 2 full-fledged wars fought in Afghanistan and Iraq, killing hundreds of thousands of people, destroying the lives of millions at the cost of trillions of dollars. We've seen multiple covert drone wars launched in places like Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. We've seen an enormous security state apparatus constructed here at home that collects our personal emails, our text messages, our phone conversations, and God only knows what else. We have watched the legalization of indefinite detention of American citizens. And frankly, the Constitution, by the way, doesn't differentiate. It says persons. Anybody on American soil should have access to the Bill of Rights. Well, not only have foreigners lost those rights, but you and I, if assuming you're a citizen, have as well. Lost our rights as citizens, and now we can be held without charges, without trial, without the ability to even confront our accusers if an authority says that they suspect us of affiliating with terrorist organizations. And in the case of Hebshi Shoshana, we've seen the ruthless counterterror operations that we believed were only done in far-off places like the Middle East or secret CIA detention facilities. We've seen all this stuff brought home and used against us, against American citizens, on American airliners. Not that brand, obviously. On airplanes in America, at American airports. And for the most part, we, the people, have let all this stuff happen. So now, as this war on terror turns inward and begins devouring us from within, we should be asking ourselves, what have we created? With the help of the ACLU, Hebshi Shoshana is filing suit against the FBI, Frontier Airlines, the TSA, ICE, and Customs and Border Protection. She hopes her lawsuit will bring, quote, accountability and changes so this type of thing doesn't happen again, end quote. We can only hope. But the fact is that we, the people, allowed this war on terror to begin and to grow. And if we, the people, don't put it to end, to rest fast, then it's going to be turning its guns on us too. You know, all these right-wing gun nuts are running around saying, we got to have our guns take on the government. All right. And the rationalization that they use is Adolf Hitler took away the guns. Well, factually, it's inaccurate. But more important, it wasn't just Hitler who killed the gypsies and the Jews and the communists and the trade unionists and the gays and the Catholics, and then ultimately pretty much anybody who stood up against him in Germany. It wasn't just Hitler. It was the German people. Hitler was one of the most popular leaders ever. The German people as a whole. It was German people on Kristallnacht who went out and smashed windows. It was the German people who participated in these things. Like this national hysteria. Oh, look at, there are different people among us. Tell me that's not happening here now. I mean, obviously not on the scale, and I don't want to diminish the Holocaust in any way by the comparison, and I suppose at some level any comparison does, but there are lessons to be learned from watching countries that have gone insane, where fear has been whipped up in the media for the purposes of political gain. When are we going to start standing up and saying, you know, we're not afraid anymore? Can we bring that back to our country?